Hello and welcome to Chronological Clone Wars. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, on his first watch of Clone Wars is Logan. Harry Tay Logan.
Oh, not well, Jordan.
Not well.
We've got some episodes to talk about. No, I am good. I am well rested, I guess.
Well rested.
Yeah. I got a lot of sleep.
You got a lot of
I don't
sleep,
know.
but during these episodes?
Yes. Sorry, this one was painful to get through. I thought the last one was bad. This one was 4 episodes of it.
The last one, what? The last droid one?
Yes, with the little
Oh,
people.
yes,
Why
the
are they always dealing with
2-episode
little
arc
people,
that they had. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
cool.
Why are they always dealing with little creatures? Is that like a thing that droids only
I don't know.
associate with creatures that are, petite in size? Because they're all like this little colonel is tiny. This new one. Oh, it's going to be a fun episode. This one.
Brent Friedman wrote these, and
sorry, Brent.
Secret Weapons was directed by Danny Keller. Sunny Day in the Void directed by Kyle Dunleavy. Missing in Action directed by Stuart Lee. And Point of No Return directed by Bosco Ng. The synopsis on Disney Plus here. Secret Weapons. R2-D2 is a part of a special droid mission behind enemy lines. Sunny Day in the Void, R2-D2 and his droid team land on a bizarre, desolate world. Missing in Action, R2-D2 and his team find a clone commando suffering from amnesia. And Point of No Return, R2-D2 must stop the destruction of a Republic conference. These aired December 1st, December 8th. Then there was a huge month-long break until January 5th and 12th of 2013 when the last 2 aired. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine this arc lasting 2 months or a month and a half? And you're like, man, when are we done this droid arc?
No, they probably fired their crew halfway through and went, God, we need more writers in here. And then they brought another crew and went, there's nothing we can do with this storyline, so we're just going to have to finish it. No, this was, I can't imagine. If you've waited this long.
If you're watching weekly, yeah.
Yeah, brutal. Goodness. What a stretch.
Yeah, that was something. This was, I remember when I watched this, Logan, you know how we were talking about before, and I was like, oh, I was on program watching this. I must have went through a long gap because this arc I watched here in my house that I live in now. I remember doing laundry, folding clothes during this arc.
Really?
Being like, how much longer is this arc so I can get to the Darth Maul stuff?
Yeah. That's brutal. Man, could you imagine watching this during COVID and be like, oh, gosh, I'm going to try to go outside and hang out?
That's probably when I did. I mean, no, I guess not because
You were in the house with COVID, right? You were in that house.
I was in this house, yeah.
Yeah,
2019. But I was probably watching this in 2019 because at that point I knew season 7 was coming. So I was trying to get ready for 2020 for we knew it was releasing May 4th, I think. So I was kind of binging through the rest of it to get to the season 7 when it dropped. Or May 4th was the finale of Clone Wars. So yeah, I was probably watching it early 2020 or late 2019 watching this arc. This is my least favorite arc of the Clone Wars. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This one is the one I always talk about when I'm like, and then you get those 4-episode droid arcs. This is the one I'm talking about when you're like, you can have the highs of the youngling arc, which I really enjoy, and seeing the lightsaber stuff, and then you're like, yeah, they probably did this because they needed to scale back the budget. Some of these, like this desolate planet. Yeah. Some of it is just like blank sky and blank land. So they're like, yeah, we don't have the models to make anything right now because we just spent it all on the Elam arc or something, or the Maul arc. So we have to, do this 4-episode arc.
It's like before they painted the models, they're like, yeah, just put that on the screen.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah. It's desolate. It's a desolate planet.
Yeah.
But they call it D Squad, right? This is the droid squad, and we have Colonel Gascon, who is a tiny alien. His name is Meeber Gascon. and he is this is his first like real action. He's usually just a strategist. What was your thought when they have these droids and then they open up the door and nobody's there? Did you know they were about to scan down and show you this tiny guy?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is going to be enough. It was like very Plankton. It was like, oh,
He
boy,
does
here
sound
we
like
go
Plankton.
again.
He's not voiced by that guy,
He
but yeah,
does.
he does sound like him.
But I was like, oh no, here we go again. These damn droids are going to get in with another person that's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, couldn't they? Maybe because I'm guessing because the camera angle, maybe Jordan, maybe that's why. But then it doesn't make sense because they're constantly in scenes with like Luke and them. So it's, I don't know. I don't get the, like, there must have been some kind of weird.
I think they had
people
the
that
idea
made
of
the
sticking
droid
him in
arcs,
the head of the astromech, and they were like, "Oh, it's got to be a
I
tiny guy."
guess. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But again, every single storyline they've ever been in together, it's always been
Yeah,
creatures that are 2 inches tall.
but I think the most interesting part of this arc really is, I think, the third episode when they do run into
Yeah.
Gregor, who is
Yep.
a clone who has amnesia and is just working at a restaurant or something.
Probably better off there than he
On
was
the front
you know.
lines, yeah, it's like, you know what?
Yeah,
Maybe this
just like
isn't
he gets
so
thrown
bad.
into.
I'm getting paid.
It might be desolate, but it's
He's
a
like, I
nice
can't
desolate
lose my
country.
job. It's very relatable. He's like, I can't lose my job, guys. I got to go in there and wish I could deal with this.
Yeah, just don't have time. You get home after work, you're tired. He was
I thought it
tired.
was a cool way to kind of wake him up from it, though, is like R2 showing him a hologram of Rex and him being like, oh, no, this
Yeah,
is like this is my face. And
yeah. This is you. You were a clone.
yeah, and his sacrifice at the end here where um he'll come back. Gregor is in some other works, I'll say. So we do see him from this. He did not die here. He does face some repercussions from this, but he did not die here.
I figured he didn't. I was like, "There's no way that he's dead."
Yeah, he
Is that droid really dead?
yeah, he's gone.
Okay, yeah, he's gone. Okay, I was just like, "Really? That all right? Well,
They had to kill off one droid. I seriously thought
They
they'd
did.
kill off more
Yeah.
because like the only one that's a main character is R2.
Wow, I thought R2 was dead when they showed.
Oh my god,
one
yeah, he's like ripped to
floating out. I was
shreds.
like, "What?" I was like, "What is that? Why is R2 dead? I didn't remember this in the story arc."
Yeah, and Anakin, of course, can't let go, so he saves him and they
Right.
fix him up. But we also get the Colonel, right, is very anti-droid, comes around to the droids at the end here, and apparently the pit droid Wacko is like, isn't that what his name was?
Yes.
Is like, hey, we're gonna be part of D Squad forever, and Meeber, the Colonel's like, ah, great. So he kind of, I guess, is now fully doing D Squad missions, but yeah, so interesting to see how he kind of goes from droid hater to droid lover. Yeah, I mean, so my thought with the pit droid is I feel like they only included him so they would have another person that could speak. Because the rest of the astromechs can't speak,
Yeah.
so I feel like they had to have that way.
Right.
Meeber's not just talking, and then you get beep beep
That's
beep
what I
boop 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 boop.
felt.
So they were like,
Yeah.
we need another guy that can talk here, and they bring in the
Yeah.
pit droid.
That's 100% what it is. I mean, I think you don't want to overdo the beep boop beep boop beep boop because you'd be like, and constantly the Colonel having to tell you what
Yeah.
they said.
What do you mean you don't want to do this? I'm telling you to do
Right,
this. Beep boop boop
Yeah.
boop boop. What do you mean you don't want to, like, just keep repeating, like,
Yeah.
It would sound unnatural and stuff like that. Because what we usually get is the C-3PO version of it, right? Where he'll
Yes.
respond to R2 without saying what R2 said. He's just like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get the answer from the answer.
yeah, and Meeber was not doing that. So they have the kind of the pit droid voicing the opinions of the rest of the droids here, so that way you have some sort of other person being able to speak. So what's your thoughts on Gregor and seeing a clone who has amnesia? I thought it was an interesting way of we've seen a clone that deserts, right? Cut LaQuain. We
Yeah.
saw that earlier in the show, and I kind of thought that's where they were going to go with this, but it turns out it's just amnesia. But yeah, you said he might be better off on that planet. But what was your thoughts on seeing a clone who has amnesia and forgetting who he is?
Yes, yeah, I love the cut episode. It was different and abandonment. I love the Finn storyline in the last part, the Force Awakens, Last Jedi, um, Rise of Skywalker storyline. I like stormtroopers and clones that abandon because they're supposed to be these mind wash like assassins that are supposed to, not really assassins, they're just kind of war machines. And um, I love that this is amnesia. Like this isn't by choice, and Gregor has to, you know, figure out who he is, but also remember that he is part of this Republican, Republic like alliance, and he's trying to, stand up for what's right and what he thinks is right. And he remembers all these things, but I think he's also got different experiences that the rest of them haven't had because he's been able to live a life free from the war. So yeah, it's weird because I did not like the other three episodes at all, but this one, the one where he sacrifices himself, like it's a good one. Like it's a random, really good one. The rest of them just bring him down.
Yeah, I think it's funny if you look at the IMDb of this, because I know you like to do
Yeah.
that. You'll see like
Yep.
the first two episodes, and you see the third episode, and then you see the fourth episode.
Yep. So I was like, all right, so at least there's going to be one good one, but the rest of them I really just did not like.
Yeah. So the plan here, when they get onto the ship, because they get to the ship, right, and they get to a Republic cruiser. They hand over the thing, but it's just a hologram, and it's run by droids. And then they find a bomb, and the plan is for this ship to just come into where they're all meeting and blow up and take out so many people. Now, this would have taken out Obi-Wan, it would have taken out Anakin, it would have taken out so many people, right?
Right.
Not the best play if you're Palpatine, really. You're going to lose the apprentice you've been trying to build up. But anyway, this is the Separatist plan. And R2 figures it out, and they're able to prevent it. But there's no better way to do this plan. Like I feel like it leaves so much room for error.
Yeah, but then again, like I don't know. I feel like there's not much room for error against Jedi. Like against, I mean, there's at this point of the war, they've got to be feeling a little bit of defeat, right? Because it seems like everywhere they go, the clones are winning. Yeah, like the
That is interesting. I do wonder.
Jedi are winning.
I kind of wish they would go into that a bit more. I kind of wish they would give us, I don't know, some sort of stats of
where the tide
like
was.
Right now, like we've got like right now we're doing very well with the war, or because there's sometimes where it seems like the Separatists are gaining momentum, and then there's times where it seems like they're on the back foot. So I kind of wish that was a little bit more consistent of like how that's going. Because we don't get.
I gotta feel. Yeah, but I gotta feel they're feeling defeated because I mean, all the bounties that are in prison are like they were kind of headaches and nuisances for the Jedi. Dooku's kind of losing his reign on people. Grievous is basically just a very good soldier, pretty much, I guess you would call him, because he's not winning. He never really wins. Like he doesn't really. Every time that they've captured somebody of importance, they get away, and this is kind of has that same, with Ahsoka getting away in this last arc. Like I just feel like the Separatists are probably feeling. I mean, Asajj Ventress is gone, and she's now kind of working against them, and the Sith probably see that as a problem because she's really strong. And then Savage, and Maul are back, but they're, they hadn't been able to do anything against Obi-Wan and them. So maybe they kind of feel like they've got a little bit of a secret weapon coming in here. But I still feel like the longer that the war goes on, it's always the stronger side that's going to prevail. Like that's the, idea behind it. But it does. It seems like if I'm keeping stats right now, they're excited about the addition of Maul to the ranks. But then again, every time that Grievous or Dooku try to do anything, it's failed.
But is Maul? I don't think Maul's on their side either, right? Because like Savage
Yeah,
turned
I
on
guess.
Dooku. So I look at them as
Yeah,
like this independent faction.
yeah, like
Yeah,
assassins. They're
they got their
assassins
own
for
agenda.
hire,
They're like,
basically.
okay, he's like,
That's
I want to
true.
take out Obi-Wan, and Savage is like, I
Yeah,
want to take out Dooku. And that's
right.
kind of, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, so you're doing your own
it's
thing.
contradictory. Yeah,
Um,
and nobody knows where Palpatine lies except for Dooku. So,
yeah, because he is the only
yeah,
one that
well,
knows
which
that
is
he's
strange to me,
actually
right?
in the Republic.
So we're definitely under the assumption that Ahsoka, or sorry, not Ahsoka, that Asajj does not know, right? Like Asajj doesn't know because she would tell
No, she
the
doesn't
Jedi
know. I think she knows that somebody
is
is
pulling the
pulling the
strings, but
strings in the Republic. I don't think they know it's the Chancellor. Dooku does,
okay,
of course.
yeah,
He mentions it to Obi-Wan, who does not believe him in Attack of the Clones.
right,
I'll just let Anakin get closer to the politicians.
right,
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess you don't want to trust Count Dooku because he is a separatist, but also that was your former master's former master. So I mean, I feel like there's some sort of camaraderie there, right? I mean,
yeah,
Qui-Gon was Dooku's apprentice. Like that should be it'd be kind of like your grandfather. It's like Obi-Wan's grandfather. That's
yeah.
how I look at it because I look at Qui-Gon as Obi-Wan's dad. But yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you don't have a good relationship with your grandfather, so maybe Obi-Wan is like that with Dooku. But I mean, he tells him straight up that the Republic is being run by a Sith Lord, and Obi-Wan just kind of scoffs at him. And now we have that, you know, he later. I wonder if he sits on Tatooine later on, like, God damn it, I should have listened to Count Dooku. Like, he told me. He told me.
Yeah, but then again, I think Obi-Wan's kind of always been the not quick to blame people or not quick to like assume. Obi-Wan's like, I need proof.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not just taking what you've read on Facebook, and I'm not
Right.
just running with it.
You
Right?
crazy old man. Right. I don't care what you're posting on
He's
Facebook.
like that
Facebook.
meme.
Fake
He's like
news.
that
Fake
meme
news.
of the old lady with the walker and then the granddaughter like next to her, and it's like Count Dooku is the old lady saying the Republic is run by a Sith Lord, and Obi-Wan is the daughter
Oh,
saying like,
okay,
we got to
Grandma.
get you back to bed, Grandma.
Okay, Grandma. Yeah, sure. Sort of make that up in your little
Yes.
head. It's okay. Yeah. Gosh, you've been watching too much television lately,
Yeah.
Grandma.
Too much
That's
HoloNet.
all.
Get off the HoloNet
Yeah.
and
Stop believing what your friends are writing on Facebook. It's not true. Just watching too
Dooku,
much
you're the
Fox
one that
News.
told me not to believe everything I read online, and now you're the one believing everything. Yeah. But yeah, I
Too
do
much of
wonder
the.
like Obi-Wan sitting in Mos Eisley Cantina, like having drink after drink, like I could have changed it all. I could have all if I had listened to Dooku.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of that in the galaxy, right? Just people sitting around going, "Damn, if I could have had that back."
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could have had that one back. Yikes!
So where do you think
Like Qui Gon.
okay, like
Like oops.
obviously this droid arc doesn't have much. Where do you think we go from here? There is a Maul arc coming up. Where do you kind of foresee
Yeah.
that? Like if you're Maul, right? What's like
Mhm.
priority one here? Obi-Wan escaped with Asajj, and you're like, okay, what do we do now?
See, I think the biggest thing that Maul will probably struggle with, and it seems like all these people always struggle with, is why would he not, and I know he doesn't agree with Dooku and them, and I think that'll eventually become an issue because I think ultimately what needs to happen is he should go to the Sith and go, okay, we both have the same objective in a way, right? We want to oppress, we want to rule the galaxy, but to do that, we're both going to have to take out the Jedi. And how do we do that? Let's, not not just Palpatine, because Palpatine ges desperate, right? Because as we know, the story goes, Palpatine gets desperate because everybody else is failing him. All the Sith underneath him are failing him, which is why he feels the chosen one, which is Anakin, is going to be the one that ultimately decides where
But
this
he even
goes, and
fails him,
ultimately,
right?
right?
Like
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a Legends thing or a canon thing right now, but I just remember like Palpatine when he finds Anakin, he's disappointed that he had lost to Obi-Wan and has to
Hmm.
save him with this stuff, and he then starts treating him like absolute crap because he
That's
never
true.
lived up to his potential. Did you ever play the Revenge of the Sith game? It was like
Mm,
it was like mostly a fighting game, right? Where you would have like lightsaber battles as the story, right? Like it would do like, okay, now you're doing this,
mhm.
this, this. But there was in the campaign, if you played as Anakin, I believe it was, at the Mustafar battle, and if you won, it showed an alternate ending where he jumps over Obi-Wan. Like the same thing happens where he says, I have the high ground, don't try it. He jumps
Yeah.
over Obi-Wan, lands, and stabs him like this. And
Oh.
Obi-Wan dies. And then
Oh.
Palpatine arrives. And I believe he takes him out too. Let me watch this real quick because
Oh,
I gotta make
okay.
sure that I'm not just spouting BS here. But I
No,
believe he ends up like taking over the galaxy.
as the emperor.
Yeah, because I thought he killed
Interesting.
him. Yeah, it's one of the first options. If you search Revenge of the Sith, the alternate ending is the first option that comes up.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember these.
Have they
I remember these
ever?
graphics being so much better than they are now.
Yeah. Have they ever discussed like kind of like a what if for Star Wars?
Um, there was rumors of it, and we did a whole episode here on the podcast about what we would do for it. But oh man, I nailed it. I nailed that backhanded
Is
motion
he?
that he does. I haven't seen this alternate ending in like close to 20 years when the game came out. It was so much fun to play this. But yeah, so he like kills Obi-Wan, he walks off, and then Palpatine arrives on Mustafar, and all the clones are there. He goes up to Palpatine and he's like, "Excellent work, my apprentice. There are none left to oppose us. The galaxy is ours now." And Anakin,
Maybe I did play this
Sidious
game.
hands him the new weapon. He says, "Your new weapon, Lord Vader." And he turns it on and stabs Palpatine. And the clones start having their guns out like, "Oh my god, what just happened?" And he says, "No, the galaxy belongs to me."
It would be interesting.
Pretty badass. That would be a fun
I
what
do
if.
remember playing games like this though. Like I remember playing a lot of games when I was little, but I can't remember which ones there were. I felt like they were releasing Star Wars
They
games
were.
left
Oh
and
my
right
god,
back
there's a
then.
Star Wars game every
Yeah,
every year.
because it felt like they were really capitalizing on the fact that Phantom Menace had done pretty well for the younger generations. And they're like, all right, video games are a big thing now. Let's start cranking out some video. Like I remember Battlefront and them coming out. I remember that game. I remember a game where I want to say you got to remember you battled a lot of battle droids, but I don't remember what game that is. Like it was one of the first ones because I remember my brother and I playing as Anakin and, or sorry, as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon.
Uh
Was there a
there
Phantom
was a
Menace
Phantom
game?
Menace game for PS1. Yes, I've played it.
Okay,
Yep.
that's
It's
what I
probably
thought.
that game
Yeah,
then. Yeah.
it probably
There's
is.
also
Yeah,
one called
because you got to fly around the yellow
There's also
fighter.
one called Jedi Power Battles. And this is one that I played a lot too. And it came out around the time of episode 1. It was called episode 1 Jedi Power Battles.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the front cover is a Obi-Wan and Mace Windu back to back. And I'm going to share it here on the screen. Mace Windu with a blue saber because
Mm.
this is before Samuel Jackson chose purple. So the game didn't know what color to give Mace, and at that point it was only blue and green. So he had a blue, and you could play as him, I believe, in the game, and he would have the blue saber. Who else was in this game that you could play as? Plo Koon, yes. Plo Koon. There's a level where you can control Mace Windu and Plo Koon as they go through the Trade Federation and do battle droids. So that could be a game too that you would play. This came out in 2000. I had this game. I just remember it being a lot of fun. Who else was the player options here? Oh, okay. Yes, you can play as Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Adi Gallia, and Plo Koon. And I believe Adi Gallia had like a crimson saber, even though she was light side. It was very interesting. Adi Gallia, Jedi power battles, lightsaber. That's what I want. Come on, Google. Yeah, she had like a red saber. I'll share that too. I gotta remember to edit this stuff in when I'm doing. All right, look at this on the screen here. Oh, this was her player model. She had the red lightsaber, and she would hold it upside down too a lot, kind of like how Ahsoka does.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh my goodness! I just looked up a list of all the Star Wars games.
Yeah, too many, huh?
There's a lot. Like, I mean, I know a lot of these are phone or PC lately. Atari had some. Pod racing games, the one I remember playing endlessly as a kid.
Yeah, let's see.
Like my brother and I used to just sit there and play pod racing all the time.
I wish you could sort these by date instead of it's kind of it's separating by like movie that they came out.
Dang, there's a Screen Rant article called 25 canceled Star Wars games you never got to play.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of canceled games. There
was a Star Wars trilogy game. What? That was supposed to exist? You got to play through the original trilogy, but it was nixed.
That would have been cool. But yeah, lots of great
Rogue Squadron.
Lots of great Star Wars games in the history there. Early 2000s, they were like seriously turning them out because you'd get like Battlefront, Battlefront 2, Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2. You would have Star Wars Starfighter, Jedi Starfighter. Clone Wars had a game, not the show, but it came out right after Episode 2 called Clone Wars, and it was there you play as Mace Windu and stuff like that. Then they had the Revenge of the Sith game that came out in 2005. You have the Attack of the Clones game that only came out on Game Boy Advance. I had that, and I actually just shared a picture of me on it recently. There was a great game for Episode 1 called Obi-Wan. It was Xbox exclusive, and I just went last year and played it at my cousin's house again. That was great. But yeah, I had the Episode 1 Phantom Menace game, and you can buy that now for PS4 and PS5, the Episode 1 Phantom Menace game. They re-released it so you can play it there. Then I did not have the racer games, but those are out now. Oh, Jedi Power Battles, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. Yeah, just a whole bunch around that early 2000s. It was the peak time for all those games.
Man, this would have been cool. There was a game they were thinking about called Outpost, and it was basically like Sims-ish, Roller Coaster Tycoon-ish, where you got to make your own outpost in a galaxy far, far away. It would require you to have different tactics, trades, eliminate bounties, all sorts of different things. Protect them from the Republic or from the Separatists. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Well, I think you could tell how much we loved this arc of the droids. So
we got so far away from it that
we'll wrap it up here. You can follow us at podawakens on all of our socials. The next episodes that we are watching next week, we go back to season 5, episode 1 for Revival. And then we watch episodes 14, 15, and 16, Eminence, Shades of Reason, and The Lawless. And then the week after that, we finish up season 5 with a 4-episode arc focused on Ahsoka. and then we can start getting into season 6. That's crazy how fast this is all going. I mean, it seems like once, I don't know, it feels like once we got to like season 4, this thing has been going on miles a minute. All right, well, thank you all for watching. We will catch you next time here on Chronological Clone Wars.